What's going on, friends? James Nguyen here with the Alpha Red Comic Channel with something brand new, a brand new segment that I want to start and see if we can keep it going. It's going to be called "Can You Draw?" Now, hopefully, you've seen my channel before, and hopefully, I've earned your respect. And I can draw. It's just, can you draw your specific character? So I've been taking commissions here in the past couple of weeks, trying to build my war chest for Alpha Red number 7 to kind of pay for the things that I need help with, things like inks and colors and letters. And so opening up the commissions opens the door to this new segment called Can You Draw? So I'll be taking on commissions, not just of mainline characters. I do have some of those lined up, but a lot of people have their own characters that they wanted. They have asked me to draw, and I've been saying no to a lot of this for the past few months as I prepare for Alpha Red number 7. But here we are. We got to build up that war chest so that we can get Alpha Red number 7 into your hands by end of June, beginning of July. So we'll talk more about it as we get into May. Towards the end of May is when I want to be putting up that Kickstarter or that Fund My Comic. I'm probably going to start with Fund My Comic just to kind of give them some love, but we will see. I have to kind of plan it out. But without further ado, we're going to be drawing we're going to answer the question: can you draw Red Phantom? Now, who is Red Phantom? We've got along with us in this new format the creator of Red Phantom, and he's going to tell us what inspired Red Phantom and how he moves, his origin story, his villains, all the things that we can pull out of this creator and help you get excited about Red Phantom. So without further ado, we are going to welcome Mr. Patrick D to the stage. What's going on, Patrick? How are you today?
Hey, James, how are you doing today?
Good. It's great to have you on. I appreciate you commissioning me to do this and agreeing to have me do it on my first Can You Draw segment. So appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we're going to show the folks out there your character. His name is Red Phantom. You know, I did not pick it just because it had red in the name, and Alpha Red is my character that also has red in the name. So I am partial to characters with red in the name. So, but tell us about Red Phantom and how you came up with him and who drew this awesome picture. What's his story?
This image is drawn by an old friend of mine named Mohammed Lubasan. He drew with me at a company called Affinity Press a couple of years ago, and I commissioned him to do this drawing for me, and I absolutely love this one. It's definitely got the feel of Red Phantom that I've always enjoyed.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's fantastic. So this is a little bit more about the character, the color scheme and all that.
Yeah, this is commissioned by Marshall Rogers, who drew Batman back in the 70s.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Yeah, he drew this for me about the turn of the century. And this is I still have to go back and finish the colors on this, obviously. But
okay. So this is you on the colors?
Yeah, this is me on the colors.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah, and you colored a Fantastic Four thing for me. So that was really cool. Appreciate that. And what about who drew this?
This is the commission I got at Dragon Con back in '93. I think it's Al Bigley drew this.
Okay. Al Bigley. Is he a pro or is he?
Yeah, he's a pro. I don't know if he's a huge name, but.
Okay. Very cool. Hey, you're gonna have me. You're commissioning me. I'm standing alongside these pros, so I appreciate the confidence you have in me here. So this is obviously, I don't know, maybe not obviously, but I'm a fan of Scott McDaniel. So
yeah, Scott McDaniel drew Nightwing back in the '90s, and I just saw a post he made on Twitter about doing commissions, so I got him to do this for me. That's beautiful, awesome. 11 by 17 drawing. I colored this one.
Yeah. Oh, you colored this one. That's awesome.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. So I did watch the link that you sent me. Scott McDaniel has this on his channel, where he goes how he laid it out from thumbnails to finished product. And man, it is an involved process. So how about this one?
Well, this is something that I drew, and this is just in the style of the Batman, the animated series.
I gotcha. Yeah.
I just wanted to see how he would look in that style, and that's how he looks.
Okay. And how about this one?
This is something I drew back in college. I was really just trying to experiment with inking as drawing,
Okay.
like sketching in ink.
Okay. Well, that's cool. And what year about was this?
Ooh, probably the mid-90s, I guess.
Okay. How about this?
This one is late 80s. It was the cover to like my Who's Who book of all my main characters. And he's just kind of swinging in from the side here.
Yeah. So is this your drawing? I'm
yes,
sorry.
That's me. That's me.
Okay. Yep. Very good. Hey, you're not too shabby here. You're not too shabby. All right. We're going to bring this down and we're going to pull up. Let me remove it completely. And pull up the other window here. Uh-oh. What do I do with the window? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Share the window. There we go. So this is my drawing board. And if you guys are not familiar with my typical draw streams, they are on YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. I call it the Sunday night draw stream. This is kind of the format where I typically do this myself. But let me get it straight here. And then so what I did, Patrick, is I printed out the pictures that you sent me so that we can get the feel of the character and some of the details. I don't know. You were very generous to say, like put it in my style, and you gave me some freedom with that. But I will be referring to this very, very much to get this blank page to something that is worth the commission price that you paid. So, all right, are you excited?
I'm very excited. Can't wait.
No, I can't thank you enough. I'm very grateful that you're investing in Alpha Red number 7 is really what you're doing. I know that you have ulterior motives, that you want your cool character to have its own image, but for me, I am I consider it an investment in Alpha Red number 7. So I typically don't like to go straight from a blank page, just because we'll be doing more erasing because of it. So, but we're gonna do it anyway because I was ill prepared for this, as I am. And I know you show up at 8 p.m. on Sunday nights to watch me do this, and I appreciate that for sure. But I like to come into it with a little bit more preparation. So I am. So describe to us, like you described to me, who is Red Phantom and how does he move, and how should I be thinking of him as I'm trying to pose him?
Hi. Well, Red Phantom was always sort of the Batman character in my universe.
Okay.
You have to have the Superman character, you have to have the Batman character, especially when you're in high school, designing these characters.
Mm-hmm.
And the original costume and design was absolutely horrible, as it is when you're in high school drawing these things.
So who influenced the look, the original look, and then now the current look?
Well, the original look is just a red bodysuit with a white stripe going down the middle.
Okay. And what influenced that? What were
I
you
have
reading?
I have no earthly idea, because it is absolutely horrible. And it's a white stripe going down the arm, a white stripe going down the leg, right to the middle of the face. Nothing phantom about it at all. Just
Yeah. What about
terrible.
the Red Tornado? Did that have? Were you reading Red Tornado?
Actually, it could have been that because I was reading Justice League at the time. I had all the superpowers action figures.
Okay.
So, but when I was about 16 or 17, me and my friend Chris Domingo decided to redesign all of my characters because we were 16, 17. We knew everything now. And Chris actually is the one who redesigned the character as you see him now.
Okay.
And my only mandate was that, there's red in there. Obviously.
Yeah.
And he
Because
came
all
up with
cool
the
characters are red.
Yeah.
All cool
and
characters.
he came up with the idea of it being a Japanese American themed character.
Okay.
And came up with the entire design. And I just sort of ran with that.
That's cool. Now, did that affect his origin story at all?
Well, the basic origin is he's a detective, and he is kidnapped by a group of interdimensional beings known as the Takot.
Known as the who?
Takot, T-A-K-O-T.
T-A-K-O-T. Okay, Taka. Gotcha.
And they are basically kidnapping human beings to create an army to invade Earth.
Okay.
And they give him superpowers, and they give him the costume, and they mind control him. But of course, he breaks free of the mind control, escapes their hideout, and comes back to Chicago to be a superhero.
Now, why Chicago?
I just wanted to pick a city that wasn't New York City, and I didn't want to make up a city.
Okay.
I think Chicago's kind of close to New York City.
Sure.
Again, the wisdom of a 16-year-old, Throw a pin at the map, whatever city it lands on.
Well, I got my 17-year-old sitting in the room, so he knows much more than a 16-year-old would know.
Of course.
Now. So I don't know if you can see the pose yet, Patrick.
Yes.
Okay. So is this okay? Like, is this coming out okay?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Because I'm thinking so I think you were describing to me like he moves like Daredevil a little bit, and that's kind of who I have in my head as I'm drawing this.
The funny thing is when you go back to look at the original design, the fur on his gloves and boots is all very short. And as the character has evolved over the years, that fur just keeps getting longer and longer, and really shows the way he moves.
Yeah.
And that was inspired mainly by Todd McFarlane's Batman.
Okay.
When he did year 2, I think it was, back in
absolutely
late 80s. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always loved that effect. So the fur just gets ridiculously long. And Spawn.
Yeah.
Spawn did the same thing when Todd did Spawn.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a visual aspect of the character that is unique to certain characters, and that is something that, even though I'm not a huge fan of flowing capes and stuff, that there's a visual element that it brings, that those kinds of things bring to an image.
In fact, I think in Chris's first design, the boots had flaps like Captain America.
Yeah.
Old school Captain America boot flaps.
Sure.
And I said, no. We gotta have fur. Gotta flow everywhere.
Now, what was the influence with the fur? Have you seen it somewhere that really kind of hit home, and you're like, my guy's gonna have fur?
No, I don't really remember where that came from, except for the Spawn, the cape always moving in every direction it could.
Yeah. Now I know that. So the image of Batman that you always see with Todd McFarlane where he's standing in the cemetery, and it's like it goes across the whole like, is it even a double page spread? I don't know. I want to say it's a double page spread. He's standing in a cemetery, and it's just like it flows across the thing. Do you know the image I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I came across this Facebook page. It's called Swipes, something Swipes, and they go through comic books, and they say, hey, this creator swipes from here, and it annoys me. It really does. I'm not a big fan of like people pointing out, hey, this looks a little too much like this. It's not. They were kind of stealing from this, and yes and no. Like we all are influenced by the people who inspire us. So like homage covers. I have a couple of requests for homage covers for original characters, and I love doing them because I like the original images. So I don't mind some swiping, and I don't put a negative. I don't automatically put a negative connotation on the taking another guy's pose and doing it in your own style, or even doing it as close to the original as possible. But that pose with that cape was actually a Bob Kane image that supposedly was done for the Batman '89 movie, as he was helping to kind of inspire some things during that production.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. So I, as much as I love that image, Todd did swipe that. There's no two ways around it. I mean, every fold was the Bob Kane version. So, but it was what it was. I mean, I didn't even know the Bob Kane version existed. So it is what it is. I don't poo-poo Todd McFarlane for anything, like it is what it is. He was who he was, and he did what he did.
And I think he's going to be okay in this business too.
Yeah. True.
He might make it.
He's they keep coming back to him though. It feels like they have like I don't know if they have a thing out for him, or it's just easy to spot a lot of his swipes. But they've been doing a lot of Todd McFarlane swipes. So
well, that's coming along really nicely there.
Oh, good. Thank you. I'm glad. So one of the questions that I had for you early on was his mask, because different artists were kind of handling the mask differently. So explain to us the 16-year-old understanding of how the mask is intended to fit on his face.
Well, as I mentioned to you before, the mask, I've always drawn it as a little bit of space between the mask and the hairline.
Okay.
But like, as other artists...
You mean like a grifter kind of? Grifter from the...
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
But as other artists have drawn it, it's been right up to the hairline, which just I think looks better. It looks cleaner.
Okay. We can stick with that.
But dealer's choice here. We can do it any way we want.
Yeah. Like I said, you gave me some freedom in how it how
and this costume is
interpreted.
The costume is a mystical costume.
Yeah.
It is able to sort of change shape a little bit, so it can be whatever it needs to be.
Yeah, that's very McFarlane of you, Patrick. Have you ever heard McFarlane's take on the Spawn costume early on?
No.
Where he people were calling him out on the inconsistency of the design. Sometimes the the spikes would be in one place, and then the very next panel they'd be in a different place. And he's like, man, I didn't even notice that. So he just started saying, hey, it's a living costume. It has its own whatever, it's alive. And everybody's like, oh, that's really cool. He's like, yeah, it is. I just made that up.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So what else can you tell us about Red Phantom? Sorry. We have I work with the Starcross guys, and one of the characters' name is Red Talon. So there's Alpha Red, Red Talon, and I think there's one more red character. The Relentless Tin Soldier is also red in our shared universe.
So much red.
Yeah. So much awesome. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I meant. Well, his powers, he's got the typical sort of Captain America enhanced speed and strength and whatnot. But his most unique power is called the Aura of Fear.
Okay.
And he can project sort of an image of himself with wild white hair and black bloody teeth and black bloody claws. That's like about 10 feet tall.
Okay.
That just scares the bejesus out of you.
Yeah. I can see where that would.
And that was inspired by a character called Shade, the Changing Man.
Okay.
There's an old DC character that Steve Ditko drew back in the 60s, I think.
Okay.
And that was his power. He could create this really wonky image of himself. So I stole that power completely away from Steve Ditko. Talk about swiping.
There's no way that we have this many original ideas out there. You know, you just package certain powers into different personalities, you know, and it creates new dynamic stories. So, you know, who cares? It's comics. You know, you just want a cool premise, and you want it to be written and drawn well. You know, originality is great. You know, and maybe that can come out in the telling of the story where the origin is slightly different, but the power is the same. That kind of thing. But people get really hung up on this authentically pure new idea thing. I don't know how what you think about the purity of where original characters need to come from.
Well, you know, they say there's no news stories.
Yeah.
For sure. You take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and put it together and hope it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, that's all AI is doing anyway, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So do you have any thoughts on AI? I know a lot of guys who don't really draw or aren't confident in drawing, but like to create characters and stories. They have taken to AI to kind of generate images of their characters, and sometimes they'll take them to traditional artists and ask them to draw them, which is where I'm going to be doing most 2 or 3 of the next Can You Draw episodes will be kind of that, with a writer who can kind of draw. Like I think he's kind of on your speed there. Like he thought he could draw. He can kind of come up with the concepts, but not really, not to the level that he would like. So he uses AI to kind of generate the rest of it. And then now he wants usable art, and he's getting a lot of pushback from purists who reject the AI generated artwork. So I don't know where you stand on that, and whether or not you've ever tried using it.
I've never tried using it. I can't really say I'm a big fan of the idea. But then again, I haven't tried it. I'd rather do it myself. kind of a person and have human beings do human being stuff.
Yeah, I've been commissioned by people who are like him, who just kind of use it to generate that initial image or images that they can give to traditional artists to finish for them. So I'm not opposed to that. You know,
Yeah, I've never tried it in that fashion, so
yeah,
because I can't really judge yet.
yeah. Yeah, no, AI is it's making a lot of things easier for a lot of people, and but it's kind of bland, you know.
Mhm.
Sometimes it does really good, compelling stuff, but for me, for the times that I've tried, you know, just to kind of work some things out, designs for things, it's just kind of bland.
Yeah, when my 9-year-old daughter can spot AI, that fast,
Yeah,
like, no, not really.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's great. It's great for guys like me who are, you know, doing it traditional. You know, the kind of the loyalty to the traditionally made stuff. So, all right. So this process is kind of just working out the composition, making sure that the anatomy is going to look right and fit. Everything's going to fit within the picture. So as we tighten it up a little bit, we'll choose more lighting sources and things like that. But right now, it's just composition and a little bit of anatomy to make sure that the picture is not going to stink. So what about the villains for Red Phantom?
Well, the main villains, as I mentioned, were the Takot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This group of interdimensional beings who are still chasing him, trying to get him back under their control, trying to get the costume back, yada yada yada. So he's constantly being pursued by them.
Okay.
Now, the original character, his enemy was his brother, who was basically doing the same thing. He was trying to create an army to invade the earth. But it was his brother that he had shot in a drug raid like a couple of days before.
Wow.
And his brother had the power of basically immortality. So he came back, kidnapped his brother, turned him into the Red Phantom, and they fought. He escaped.
Well, that's cool. Why did you abandon that? What kind of science was turned him into the Red Phantom?
That's actually a good question. I don't know why I changed that.
I mean, it's just as good as intergalactic stuff. It's more street level. Sounds more street level for the immortality thing.
Yeah, the idea of him being kidnapped and transformed was always there, but I think I was trying to get a more, I don't want to say Japanesey, but a different group. And I did some research into ghosts and phantoms. So I wanted to lean that way a little bit more.
Okay.
So that's why I came up with the internet or interdimensional beings.
Very cool. So are they like, do you are you injecting any kind of faith elements into it, like demons, and are you using any kind of Christian biblical understandings of interdimensional? Because I've heard aliens and stuff described as angels and demons, people who don't believe in angels and demons and God and Christianity, they use interdimensional beings or aliens in the same way.
Yeah, they're more your basic demons. That's about as far as I've ever developed the story. So
So what is it? What is the plan for Red Phantom? Do you have a story? Do you have like an origin story? Do you have like, would it be satisfactory for you to like hire somebody to draw and color and just produce the Red Phantom origin story?
well, I do have like a 2-page primer on the character that I've written.
Okay.
And I've had a few artists that are working on that.
Okay.
And I also have a longer sort of 10-page mini comic book or 8-page mini comic book that goes into his origin a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I might try to get that drawn by someone one of these days.
Yeah. No, I think it'd be neat. Like I don't know, it scratches that itch. You know, the I've had this idea in my head forever, kind of itch that you know, you get it out there in the world, and you know, you feel like he lives out there in the real world somewhere.
Yeah, he's lived in commissioned drawings for many, many years now, and continues to live.
Yeah.
And just seeing him, you know, in the hands of other artists is a really, really cool thing for me.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to do it. I love new characters, cool characters. I actually have a character who looks similar to this, and he does have intergalactic origins. I don't know if I ever fleshed him out. He comes crashing down to Earth, but he has like, his skin is red. You know, his and the enemy, who looks very close to the way he looks because they're from the same planet. They're intergalactic ninja type guys. He was purple, but you wouldn't know it from the black and white stuff. So my local comic shop guy that I worked for, I worked at a comic book store. He would give me a hard time about my characters because they all kind of look the same. But yeah, mine was called Saun, S-A-U-N.
Oh, very cool.
I don't know much about him anymore, other than there's another one, The Raging Inferno. I remember doing 2 or 3 pages of something called I forget what his name was, but his tagline was The Raging Inferno. But he was in the Saun universe. I'll have to pull that up.
I do have 3 issues of the comic book that I drew back in high school of the original Red Phantom, and you know, they're horrible. I still keep them. I still read them every now and again.
I don't know if you follow Rob Liefeld's thing on Facebook, but Dan Fraga, who I don't know if you're familiar with, but I was just scrolling through Facebook this morning, and he posted some really old stuff of his back in the late 80s, and I was like, wow, bro, you came a long, long way. But yeah, you got to keep that stuff around. I have some old stuff, but I don't like reading it. Maybe I'll post it to inspire people who think that I draw well, or who like Alpha Red, to see the origins of a creator, how far you can go if you stick with it.
Even just looking at some of those drawings that you have of mine, old drawings of Red Phantom,
yeah,
I just cringe. I go like, oh no.
For sure. You don't like it. It wouldn't be my favorite thing to do, but it would be a good lesson to see that cringe, and then hopefully put it next to some of my current stuff and say, look, you know, we all have to start somewhere. So that would be my only reason to embarrass myself with the old artwork.
And I've gotten away from penciling a lot in the last few years. I do a little more inking and coloring now than I do penciling. But
yeah. Okay. All right. This is almost ready for some inks. What do you think?
I love it.
Awesome. I want to make sure I have some of the shorthand here that I'm putting for myself before I ink. Just the costume stuff and shadow stuff.
Yeah, and I'm glad you got the armband in there too.
Yeah, I noticed that our buddy Scott McDaniel. Hello, Mr. Scott. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that armband kind of comes and goes over the years, depending on who draws it.
That's funny. So I was thinking it was a vest, but maybe it comes up over his shoulder. Does it come
a little
over
bit?
his-
Yes. Yeah.
So it comes this far. So it's not just.
Yeah, I've always drawn it over his shoulder like that.
Okay.
But
Yeah, let's do that.
again, the costume does what it wants to do.
It's very Spawn-like.
Magic costume.
Let's make sure we get that detail in there. Where it comes over his
Again,
shoulder.
this was designed in the 80s, so the big shoulder
for
gauntlet
sure.
things.
Yeah. No, I just I don't think it needed to make too much sense back then. I think we get spoiled with the MCU stuff, so we can kind of see it in real life and we go, oh, that looks so cool that it has to be super hyper realistic, or else we reject it. But back when it used to just be fun, you draw pretty much a naked person and then put different lines in there, and it becomes a cool image.
And I never really talked to my friend Chris about what he was thinking when he designed this. But it was like, if you want a vest, you have a vest. That's fine. Don't that it does anything or helps in any way, but here's a vest.
Just keeps them warm on those cold nights.
It does get cold in Chicago sometimes, yes.
All right. Gotta make sure the hair goes there. All right. I think we are ready for inks. Ready for the inks. Let's snap a picture real quick. So we have proof of the pencil version. And so who are your favorite creators, Patrick?
Well, as far as artists have gone, my favorite has always been George Perez.
Oh, really? Nice.
He's the first artist I really remember noticing back when he drew the cover to the Who's Who issues back in
The
the
Who's
80s.
Who's? Is that was that Marvel or DC?
That was DC.
Okay, so it's their version of the Marvel Universe, whatever
The handbook, yeah.
handbook. Yeah, that's it.
And I just was amazed by all the detail that he could put into one picture, one cover, one character.
Yeah, like his
And
pages were
he's-
like incredible. Yeah, for sure.
And my favorite thing about George is that every character looked and acted the way they were supposed to look.
Yeah.
And they didn't just look like a standard, superhero. They all moved in their own different way and stood their own different way. And
Yeah, I didn't discover comics until the first comic that I remember was Batman Year One, Frank Miller, David Mazzucchelli, and then I didn't see one again. Obviously there were ones on the stands and stuff, and I would flip through them. But my buddy bought that, and when I went over to his house, I just remember endlessly flipping through that. But I didn't get back into it again until McFarlane was doing Spider-Man. And then I kind of went backward and found some of his Batman stuff, year 2. So I missed the whole Perez thing. Like, I knew his name and I could pick out his artwork, but he was never like a gotta have my George Perez comic, and didn't follow him around. So did you follow him from Marvel to DC
and back and forth? Absolutely. I loved the Avengers run that he did in 98, 99 with Kurt Busiek.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And of course, he did, Crisis on Infinite Earths and the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
It's so much good stuff. And I did get to meet him in Metropolis, of all places.
Where?
Metropolis.
Metropolis where? Kansas or what? Something?
No, it's a small city in the bottom tip of Illinois.
Okay.
And every June they have a Superman celebration.
Okay.
And they have, people from the TV shows and the movies and comic book artists. And I met him there back in 2011, I think.
Okay. He seems like a super nicest guy.
He is. He really is nice. Shook his hand, talked to him for a second.
Yeah.
Thanked him for being awesome. And
yeah. No, he would come out to the Pittsburgh Comic Con, is where I would have run into him a couple of times. Like I said, I wasn't a huge fan. Not that I wasn't a fan, but like, he was hard to get to because his line was so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my own Artist Alley table, so I never kind of made it over to George's booth. And then you would catch him in the hallways sometimes, and the creators would stay in the building, in the hotel where the Pittsburgh Comic Con was. And so you would maybe catch a ride with, I caught a ride with Frank Miller at one point. Yeah. Super intimidated. I didn't say a word to him. Like nothing.
Yeah, I was at Dragon Con in 93 and caught an elevator with Peter David.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to say to him.
Yeah, like, what do you say? Like, hey, I like your comics. Like, hey, I really like your run on Hulk.
So he was at the top of his game. He'd actually just done a live reading of Batman story.
Okay.
And he had done a great impression of Danny DeVito's Penguin. That's what I said to him in the elevator. Love your Penguin impression. He just rolled his eyes at me like, oh gosh. Sorry, don't know what else to say to you, Peter.
Yeah. Did you hear that his health is not doing well?
I did. I have seen that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about all the hubbubaloo around Marvel and how they treat creators and stuff. But partly is creators like accepting those terms, and then not spending their money well. I mean, I don't want to push it back on the creators because there's different. Everybody's different, and if you're good with money, you're good with money. If you're not, you're not. If you're good at negotiating contracts, like Rob Liefeld sounds like he was, he's kind of set for life.
Yeah, I do follow Rob on Twitter or X, and I've seen him post about the salaries and everything at Marvel there, and he's not terribly happy about it.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know what it is now, but I used to hear that pencilers would get $300 a page, and inkers would get $150. So I was like, I can ink my own stuff. I can get both of those, make $450 a page, do a page a day. I could probably live off of that. And so that was my understanding of what they paid. So, but not so much anymore because the internet has given them access to a lot cheaper labor. So I mean, I'm as guilty as Marvel is, but I'm a nobody. I hire guys from the Philippines and stuff to help me color, and I think my inker is from somewhere in the Midwest, but but like I'm a nobody. I don't have the IP that they have. I don't have the fans. I don't know. I shouldn't be competing with Marvel for the same creators. Right.
All the microns.
Yeah. I don't know. So you said you're an inker more now. So what kind of tools are you using? Are you digital at all?
Now I am digital, yes. But I did learn with brush and microns. I used to ink completely with the brush.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very intimidating for me. I tried it for a while. But the level of control that you have to have requires a lot of patience and skill. And
of course, being a George Perez fan, he's the one that I tried to ink the most, and inking Perez is insane. Now it's all digital. I made the move, made the switch.
Yeah. So do you have like a Cintiq type of thing, or do you ink?
No, I have a little tablet about, I guess, 8 inches by 8 inches.
Okay. Is it those bamboo things?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly what it is.
Yeah. So I tried that too. So like you're not actually looking at what you're inking. It's on the screen and you're inking what's down below.
Yeah. It takes a lot to get used to it, but once you do.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, I have one of those bamboo things, and I couldn't get used to it. I just wanted to be looking at the image. What program do you use with your bamboo?
I use Clip Studio Paint.
Okay. Is that what's typical? Or
I would say so, yeah. It's a pretty big program, mainly designed for manga and comic books.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people use it, yeah. And I use Photoshop for coloring.
Yeah, that's all I know is Photoshop. So I was using the bamboo with Photoshop, and I don't know if that's. Have you ever tried it? The Photoshop with the bamboo tablet?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I use it every day. Coloring.
Yeah. Okay, but not inking.
No, I don't ink in Photoshop. No.
Yeah. So I was trying to ink in Photoshop. I was trying to draw in Photoshop using the bamboo, and I was just like, this is so unnatural. So
Clip Studio Paint is designed for comic book and artwork, so the pens and all the tools are much more geared toward that and feel more natural, I guess.
Yeah.
Once I got used to drawing in Clip Studio Paint, it was over. I love it.
Yeah. No, I bought one of those Cintiq type things. It was a knockoff, and I don't know if it was because it was a knockoff that some of the things didn't work, and the color was just I couldn't fix the color. It was just so bright, very vibrant, and the bad part was that I got used to the vibrant colors, and so anytime I saw it, my colored stuff on anything normal, I would think that it was dull. So thankfully it kind of fizzled out on me, and then I gave it to my son and he made it work, and so he's using it, but I do not have a digital thing.
Yeah, it's one of the things I swore I would never go digital because I spent so much time learning how to draw and ink.
Yeah.
And then once I finally made the switch, I was like, oh, okay, I guess so.
Yeah. Is it the speed? Is it the ability to go back and immediately erase? Or
yes.
Yeah.
If I had a dime for every time I had hit Control Z when I'm inking, I could retire.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get that. So who are other influences? Do you have writers that you like to follow? Or
I love Kurt Busiek's work. Like I said, back on the Avengers, back in Marv Wolfman for Teen Titans.
Yeah.
I don't really read as many comic books today as I probably should, but
yeah,
I'm gonna stick to the classics.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like they don't hit the same. I am finding more and more. I don't know if you listen to Thinking Critical. I kind of take a conglomeration of their recommendations. I don't like everything that they like, and I don't hate everything that they hate. But there's a good mix of people on there just kind of giving honest reviews, and I just I check it out. I check out some of the newer stuff. Are you picking up any new stuff?
I haven't in quite some time.
Yeah. So you're not on the absolute Batman train?
I am not. I know it's a big thing. I follow Scott on X.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about the look of Batman there.
The artwork is honestly it's the most polarizing part of it for me, because there's aspects of it that I like and aspects of it that I don't. So it's not my typical preference. The style is not my typical preference. So it takes a little getting used to, but I like the story so much, and I don't think it works without that kind of indie style. I don't know. There's something about it that kind of works. And when Nick Dragotta is not doing it, the two stand-ins that they've had so far just don't hit the same. It doesn't hit the same without that kind of artwork, that indie / manga style. The manga pacing. It's not so much manga style, but it has manga flavor in the pacing of it. So that's what I like about it. And I do like, I mean, the story. I'm not a super Batman purist, and I've seen enough different variations of Batman that I allow for some of the changes that he's made to kind of accept this new version of the war. But
yeah, I just haven't gotten around to checking it out yet. But
yeah, do you pick up any other independent stuff, like the Rippaverse stuff, any Comicsgate stuff? I don't know if you're aware of those things, or pro or against Rippaverse, pro or against Comicsgate.
I see them mentioned every now and again, but I'm going to plead ignorance on both of those.
You're probably for the best, sir. Probably for the best.
I want to stick to my little comic book universe and have my characters. And
yeah, that's the cool thing about
all
comics.
The
yeah, no, comics are a great hobby, because you can go in and out of them, and it's kind of a pick and choose, and you don't have to be, not everybody has to like what I like, and you don't have to hate what I dislike. I don't hate anybody's stuff. I know how hard it is to produce a comic book, so if you can get a comic book all the way done and it looks halfway decent, like, my goodness, you're
doing better than half the people out there, at least. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So lots of haters out there. I'm just like, it's so negative. Like, there's no reason to be this negative about something that you know nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the projection of like motivations, and everybody calling each other grifters and whatever. We're all trying to create something. Some people are trying to make a living doing it. I'm thankful that I don't have to make a living doing it. I just have to make fiscal sense for my family, where it's not costing me money to enjoy my hobby. But outside of that, like, let people like what they like. It's not the worst. It's not the best. It just is. You support it or you don't. If enough people support it, then it lives on. And it just should be that. So let it be.
This is looking awesome, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just having fun. I don't typically get to talk to people while I'm drawing, so this is kind of a new thing. And I'm doing a lot of Alpha Red stuff, so I don't really want to be on drawing Alpha Red stuff, because part of it is I want people to be surprised by some of the stuff. And I thought I was going to just share everything, and then anybody who was going to pick it up anyway just gets like an early sneak peek at it. But there's something to be said about some of the surprises that I have that I want to keep under wraps. So I don't want to draw it live. So this is a good balance between kind of not doing it alone, but at the same time not sharing, not oversharing some things that I want to present in a different way.
And I get to see the Red Phantom again.
Yeah, right. No, I hope you enjoy that aspect of it, where your character is coming to life by somebody else.
First commission was that Al Bigley piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw him at the Dragon Con. He was doing commissions. I said, I got to get one. What character do I pick? And I just picked him. I had to do a sketch of him real quick so the guy had a reference.
Uh-huh.
And from there, it's just been, let me see if I can get a commission of Red Phantom from Marshall Rogers.
Yeah.
From Scott McDaniel.
Yeah.
From Alpha Red Comics. From Heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. No, I appreciate it.
One day I'm just going to have a wall of Red Phantom commissions.
You got to put them in somewhere. Yeah.
That's when I know I'm done.
You got to find an avenue. Maybe I'll tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, I need an intergalactic something storyline here. And he can make an appearance in Alpha Red.
Oh, absolutely.
That would be cool. I don't like as I'm writing stories for Alpha Red and Ray, my frequent collaborator, is coming up with stories for Alpha Red. It'd be hard to just kind of squeeze in random characters, but like if I want a story and I need a character.
Yeah, and he's always been, the Batman, Daredevil, fights at night kind of character.
Okay. I have the next couple of stories kind of planned out, and I have like whole arcs kind of planned out for Alpha Red. And so, things are still in flux because obviously they're not produced yet. They're not in any kind of, not even written down. They're mostly in my head, these stories. and so they can flex around. But like the hero is always Alpha Red, like so. It's hard to
Absolutely.
it's hard to say. All right, I want another hero in here. Like if there was a villain, if there was a villain arc, it's easier to add somebody else's villain, I would think, into my story than to add another hero. Because over at Starcross Comics, we have like a stable of heroes that the guys are always kind of trading heroes, and it's just fun to have your character out there more often than you can create for yourself. So it's just it's also the fun of like crossovers and things like that. But when it comes to villains, I think it would be easier to say, hey, maybe Alpha Red fights your villain.
And the villains are so much more fun to create sometimes anyway.
Yeah. Like how evil are they? How smart are they? How strong are they? How are they gonna put my hero into a bad situation that they have to figure out how to get out of? But yeah, I do like that's an important thing to understand, that the hero is only as good as his villain. Because if you didn't have a decent villain, then you wouldn't really need the good guy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't make the villain so sympathetic that people prefer the villain to win over your hero. So, a morality issue, I think, in my mind, in recent years, where a lot of people would rather root for the villain and chip away at the heroicness of the hero, the purity of the hero. There's just a little bit of bad in every good guy, and every bad guy has a little bit of good. And maybe, but like, I don't know, a little too overemphasized, in my opinion. Like Joker has a whole movie, so you're sympathizing with the Joker. You understand his motivations as a crazy guy. You can sympathize with him and empathize and root for him. Whereas in the comic books, he's just a psychopath, murderous, smart, willing to do all the bad things. So you shouldn't root for those types of people in real life.
No.
But Alpha Red's going to change all that. That is one of the reasons why I created Alpha Red, is to just bring back some innocence to comics. Not innocent in a way that it's for like little kids, but like good is good, bad is bad. It's okay for the bad guy to lose. It's okay that his motivations are all greed and evil or chaotic or just bad. You don't need to say
a bit more comic book purity.
Yeah. I mean, it's escapism, right? So why do we need so much realism in our fiction? Our fiction is supposed to be inspirational, in my opinion. Because
absolutely.
If it's just a commentary on the evils of the world, I mean, just turn on the news.
I know, we got enough of that as it is.
Yeah.
Gotta get away from that.
Yeah. So any other artists inspire you? Any other characters?
I was also a big fan of John Byrne back in the day.
Hmm.
His Superman stuff was amazing.
Hmm.
We would, gosh, I could barely tell you if you hadn't just asked me.
I told you when cameras turn on or you put on the spot,
Yeah, exactly.
it's like your brain, like all your recall, the easy recall, like vanishes. It's like, who am I? What am I doing?
The Batman Year One I thought was a brilliant.
Yeah, I have that next to my desk over here. I bought it in trade paperback, and I want to read it again. I haven't read it in probably decades, honestly. So I'm excited. I flipped through it and just like brought back all those memories, So I'm excited.
I think I still have the original 4 issues.
Yeah.
The regular Batman series from
Yeah, and
87, I think it was.
They didn't have to reboot it. They didn't have to bring it back to #1. It's just it just happens in Batman. Is it Batman or Batman Detective Comics? It was like whatever, 407, 408, 409, like whatever it was. It was just random issues. And the storyline was just Batman Year One. Like why can't they continue to do that?
DC is crazy. How many times they rebooted things and restarted things and new #1s and like just tell the story.
Yeah. Marvel too. Marvel has gotten. They just rebooted Amazing Spider-Man. I think I'm going to drop it. I picked it up towards the end here because of Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness. They're the guys that brought Deadpool into my brain. Like his version of Deadpool is the one that I really liked. That's where I discovered Ed McGuinness. And so for them to be announced that they were doing this final run of Amazing Spider-Man before they rebooted it, I was excited about it. And then he only did, I think, 2 or 3 of the issues. Ed McGuinness on art, 2 or 3, and then Joe Kelly, he only wrote, I think, 3 or 4 of the 10 issues, and it was super confusing. Not very important feeling. That nothing really happened. They introduced a bunch of new concepts, and like, how about you just, I don't know, don't do anything new. Work with what you got so that we feel like it ties into something bigger. But then issue #1 came out 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was just more of the same. I was like, and it's not Ed McGuinness. It's Pepe Larraz, which I know that name does some things for some people. I don't know if you're familiar with Pepe Larraz, Patrick.
No, not really.
Yeah, the artwork is pretty good. It's definitely like a manga infused version of comic art, and well done. But like, if it doesn't mean anything, I don't know. I thought that I used to buy comics just for the art, but for me, for sure, it's no longer. I mean, it's not a given, because I stopped collecting Batman even with Greg Capullo on it, which I loved, with the Court of Owls stuff. But they started getting into the metal stuff. It got really dark. So I was like, I'm out. And it was the same team. It was Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo. So I checked out of that. So The artwork is great, and it gets me there, but the story I think matters.
It's all about story.
Yeah. I'm believing that more and more. You couldn't have convinced me that maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. But for sure, you can't just phone it in. Marvel and DC. Mostly Marvel right now for me, because the only thing I'm really picking up from Marvel was Amazing Spider-Man. But I'm picking up Absolute Batman from DC. Are you into the Transformers and G.I. Joe by Skybound? I don't know if you're...
No, I haven't read those. I was a huge Transformers fan back in the 80s, played with all the toys. Never really a G.I. Joe fan, gotta say.
Yeah, no. But,
no,
I highly recommend it. If you were a Transformers fan back in the day. They did it's like a kind of a retelling of it, but they do it, and however they're doing it, it's just amazing. Like, I can't. That's like the first book that I read when I get it on a Wednesday. I'll pick it up and I'll get home, and very shortly after, I will have read it, which doesn't happen. That only happens with that comic, G.I. Joe, and Batman. Otherwise, I still haven't read Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, #1. And that was 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Well, I will have to check it out.
Yeah, good stuff.
The free comic book day coming up. I'll have to go check those out.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a place that'll let me set up for free comic book day. My local comic shop always has Joe Jusko. He lives around here. I don't know if are you familiar with Joe?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So he apparently lives within miles of me. And so he frequents the comics store that I go to. And the past 2 or 3 years, they've had him. So I got to find a place to try to set up and sell some of my comics and artwork. I'm not really plugged in to anybody but them around here. We do have a handful of comic book stores, but the reason why I ended up with them, not just because they're closest to my house, but because the other people are like robots. Like, you come in, they don't want to talk about comics at all. They like don't even know you. And you're picking up comics and they don't ask you what you like about it, what you don't like about it. No conversations at all. Just transactional. So
that's half the fun of going in there, is talking with other fans.
Yep, talking to the other fans, and you're arguing about stuff, and who's the best this, who's the best that.
So, what are your thoughts on the Red Phantom costume design? His look.
Yeah, his look. It really reminds. As I'm drawing him, I'm just thinking of my my character Sawn, and I'm gonna go dig him up because he has the long ponytail, and he's red, but he has he has buckles. So that's all. That's all I see. So he could be like a variation of Sawn, the intergalactic
multiverse.
Yeah, multiverse version of him for sure. But no, I like it. It's very 90s. It's very. It's just a costume for the sake of the costume, and I like the flowiness. It adds that visual interest of it. So does he have any tech? does Red Phantom have any tech, or is it just all kind of
No, it's just all him.
super strength and agility? And,
I remember when Scott McDaniel did his commission. He asked me about, how does he swing around? What kind of gadget does he have? And I was like, there's always just a rope there that he swings on. I'm like, I don't know where he got it from. Left over from Spider-Man or something. I don't know.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious if he's just swinging around on spider webs that haven't dissolved yet.
In all these superhero cities, there's probably hundreds of ropes just hanging from buildings. And people
True.
It's like catching an Uber.
Maybe there would be like some kind of organization that would benefit from that, and they just set up ropes that super people can swing.
There should be.
They pay them a fee.
Yeah, monthly subscription like everything else.
I just recently switched my phone line. They're like, yeah, we use AT&T, we use Verizon phone lines, so you should get the same quality. And I'm like, oh, okay. And sure enough, it's the same. But that's the same idea. Like somebody just owns those ropes, but all the heroes and villains get to use it.
Because half the time they don't take them down; they're still just hanging there.
They have to be, because Batman's shooting his little thing, and then it just wraps around a part of the building or a wire or a phone line or whatever, and he swings. He's not catching that back. He just cuts off the cord right there at the gun, right, or the handle, and off he goes. That'd be hilarious. Except for Daredevil. Daredevil, it's the baton, comes out of the baton, and goes back into the baton. So
Daredevil gets a pass. He's figured it out. No one is swinging on his ropes.
No. Yeah, a little selfish with his mode of transportation.
Yeah, Red Phantom just likes to get in there, punch the bad guys, and get out.
Yeah, that's cool. That's fun. Fun stuff. All right, Patrick, we are coming up on the end of the image here. So anything that I'm missing on the image here?
I think it looks fantastic.
No, fantastic. Great. I am happy that you are happy, and I am grateful that you are investing in Alpha Red number 7 by commission.
I certainly appreciate you doing it.
Yeah. Well, this is a good first taste of what Can You Draw can look like. Hopefully it is as interesting to others as it was to me and to you, hopefully. And you'll have to send me your email address, your address, so I can send it to you. I don't know if you left it or not, but all right, brother. Anything else you want to say about Red Phantom or anything else?
No, that's it. I appreciate you doing this.
I'm going to take you off the stage. I'm going to say my goodbyes, and we'll have a proper goodbye then after that. Is that cool?
All right. Thanks, James.
Yeah, thank you. Let me remove you from the stage. Remove this. Well, guys, thank you for hanging out with me and Patrick and his awesome character, Red Phantom. I hope you dug it. And if you want me to draw your character, just email me at alpharedcomic@gmail.com. That's alpharedcomic@gmail.com. And we can hang out, and you can ask me, can you draw and insert your character? It can be Batman, it can be Superman, it can be your original character. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to play the thing, and then we'll see you on Sundays. Sunday is when I typically do my draw stream, Sunday night draw stream at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I pick a character that is in the news, and then I draw it, and then you can buy it on my Etsy store. You can go to, I think it's jamesq.net, takes you to my Etsy store. So check that out, guys. So until next time, Can you draw? Yes, I can. So until next time, I'll work on the ending. Grace and peace. We are out. Hit that button.
From the shadows he rises with courage in his heart, a beacon of hope. He's ready to start with faith as his armor and a fire in his soul. Alpha Red stands tall, fulfilling his role. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Red. In a world full of chaos, where evil may lurk, he fights for the righteous, his mission and work. Guided by God, with strength from above, he battles the darkness with unyielding love. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Alpha Red. When the night seems too long and hope seems so far, look to the skies, we'll see his bright star. With a prayer and a promise, he faces the fight. Alpha Red shines through, the beacon of light. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. So stand tall with courage, let your faith lead the way. With Alpha Red beside us, we'll see a brighter day. For evil may tremble, but never forget, the world is protected by our hero, Alpha Red. Alpha Red. Alpha Red.